The collapse of the New START treaty is no accident. It is the result of a clear political choice in Washington. President Donald Trump has rejected extending the agreement, insisting instead on scrapping it entirely in favor of a new, undefined framework. His message is blunt: no extension, no rollover, only a future deal on U.S. terms.
The president wants to have our nuclear experts work on a new, improved, and modernized treaty that can last long into the future, and that's what the United States will continue to discuss with the Russians.
Moscow, however, is striking a different tone. The Kremlin says it remains open to dialogue if Washington shows seriousness. Presidential spokesman Dmitry Peskov says Russia is prepared to discuss the situation around START, but only if there are constructive responses to its proposal to extend restrictions. The signal is deliberate. Russia is not closing the door, but it will not negotiate into a vacuum.
The action of the agreement is coming to an end. We assess this negatively and express our regret in this regard. It is also our initiative to maintain the ceiling of restrictions for another year, even after the end of the term of this document. Yesterday, this topic was indeed mentioned from the point of view of negative consequences for the international control system for nuclear weapons and stability. You know that our Chinese friends are taking a position in accordance with which their nuclear potential is incompatible with the potential of the United States and Russia, and therefore they do not want to participate in the negotiations. They consider it impractical. We respect this position. Well, then it all depends on how the events will develop. In any case, the Russian Federation will maintain its responsible, attentive approach to the issue of security and stability in the field of nuclear weapons, and, of course, as always, will primarily be guided by its national interests.
Today, the New START treaty officially expires, ending the last remaining nuclear arms control pact between the United States and Russia. For the first time in over 5 decades, there are no legal caps on the world's 2 largest nuclear arsenals. Nuclear guardrails are gone, inspections stop, and global strategic stability enters dangerous uncertainty.
Yeah, I don't have any announcement on New START right now. I think the president will opine on it later.
New START capped nuclear warheads, limited missile systems, and allowed on-site inspections, data exchanges, and real-time monitoring. Its collapse means transparency vanishes, mistrust rises, and worst-case military planning returns. Experts warn this dramatically raises the risk of miscalculation, escalation, and accidental nuclear confrontation. Moscow now says it is no longer bound by any nuclear limits and is free to choose its next steps. The Kremlin accuses Washington of wrecking strategic stability and forcing Russia to respond militarily. Russia warns it will take decisive military technical measures if its security is threatened.
The Strategic Arms Limitation Treaty expires on February 5th. As you know, on September 22, 2025, we proposed to the Americans to extend the central quantitative limits for 1 year as voluntary restrictions. However, no official response has been received from the Americans. Vladimir Putin emphasized that in this situation, we will act carefully and responsibly based on a thorough analysis of the security situation.
Washington says future arms control must include China, citing Beijing's rapidly expanding nuclear arsenal. The Trump administration argues bilateral treaties no longer reflect modern nuclear realities, but China rejects formal limits, leaving global arms control trapped in diplomatic deadlock.
Obviously, the president's been clear in the past that in order to have true arms control in the 21st century, it's impossible to do something that doesn't include China because of their vast and rapidly growing stockpile.
As US-Russia nuclear restraint collapses, Moscow and Beijing are tightening strategic coordination. Putin and Xi have reaffirmed alignment on security, diplomacy, and opposition to US global dominance. China now emerges as the third force in a new global nuclear triangle.
We support each other on key issues affecting national interests in the face of external challenges. Our countries, as our Chinese friends say, act back to back and can rely on each other.
With no treaty in force, warhead limits disappear, missile deployments accelerate, and arms races revive. 5 decades of nuclear arms control architecture have now collapsed, pushing the world into a volatile new era. The big question: can diplomacy rebuild guardrails, or is Cold War 2.0 now inevitable?